Good evening and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, our Sunday lockdown edition where I do a Q&A where basically it's up to you. You can ask me anything you want to ask me, and I will do my very best to try and answer it. And I hope you guys have been having yourself a great day. Football returning again today. Bayern Munich beating Union Berlin, the team that I'm in this Bundesliga. But Bayern Munich beating them by 2-0. I think that's 40 goals for the season now for Robert Lewandowski. What a player he is. Amazing player. To think that once upon a time, right, he could have joined Blackburn. He was going to join Blackburn. And I think the only reason he didn't get to sign for Blackburn was because it was quite a few years ago when they had that there was like that volcano that erupted, and it was there was ash being drifting around the atmosphere, and his plane couldn't get to England, or he would have joined Blackburn. Didn't get here, joined Dortmund instead, has gone on to play for Bayern, and he's one of the best strikers in the world, one of the best strikers ever in German football. An amazing player, amazing player. But there, yes, football back. We saw it all again today. Empty stadiums, socially distanced on the touchline. Ball boys disinfecting balls. It's the new norm at the moment. I saw actually where Arsene Wenger, in an interview today that he done for beIN Sports, was saying that listen, this can't last forever, and he expects that in the 2020-21 season, which of course is next season, that fans will return to football. I hope he's right, because watching those games is better than nothing at the moment, and I think we'd be even more into it if it's our teams playing. But without fans, you see that, look how important we are, fans. They never really have fought, have they, in the past? The TV companies have not put an importance on us putting any game on whatever time, not caring about whether our fans can make it home after that game, whatever. And then you've got of course, the clubs, ridiculous ticket prices and the way they treat the fans sometimes. Let's hope, and I've said this many times, that when this is over, they respect fans more. They see the value, what we bring to football, because we are just as important to a game as football as the players, because you can see when you take the fans away, it's dead. Take the players away, it's dead. So both of us are as important as each other, and we really, really need to get fans back in the game somehow, but obviously only when it's safe. Now let's get into some of your questions. As I said, fire away. This is your chance to get your questions in. And by the way, thank you very much for all the support we've been getting on this show. It's been since, of course, the lockdown that we've been doing these live shows, one in the morning at 10, one in the evening at 8, every single day for me. But I've enjoyed doing it. It's been really, really good. It's really, really been good connecting with fans. So let's get out there. Let's see what you guys have got to say. Starting off here with RP2 Wavy, says, "Hi, Robbie. What do you think about Tiago Almeida and Arsenal being linked to him?" Well, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about him. Just know that everybody's rating him as like one of those massive talents coming out of South America, midfield player, said to be very creative, and a very, very, very exciting player by the looks of it. So I like the links. Whether it will happen or not, who knows? He's also been linked with a lot of the big Spanish clubs. But yeah, I want to see more Argentinian players at Arsenal. I like Argentinian players, man. They've always got a great mentality as well. So Tiago Almeida, we have to see what happens with that. But he's sought after by many, many teams right around the world right now. So let's hope that Arsenal can get him. Oyem, is it, or Kyoyum, says, Robbie, mention your top 5 strikers in the world. What, right now? Top 5 strikers in the world right now. Well, Lewandowski's in that. He's definitely in there. Brilliant striker. It's Messi and Ronaldo. Are they strikers? Are they strikers? They're not out and out strikers. You've got to put them in there. They're forward players. They're light strikers, aren't they? So Messi and Ronaldo, Lewandowski, Mbappe's in there. I think you've got to put that Haaland in there as well. I think those five at the moment are probably the hottest five. But then there's more you could put in there. But those five right now come to mind. I probably missed someone. Obviously, you're looking in this country, you got to say Aubameyang's in there. Kane is in there. You know what I mean? But I'd say at the moment, if I'm going off of currently those five I mentioned first, you'd have to go with, for me anyway, personally. I don't answer this question. I get asked this every week, man. I told you I refuse to answer that question with I am looking to preserve my life, right? So Rangers or Celtic, I like both of them. I'm sitting firmly on the fence when it comes to that, right? Kadeem says, can you sing a song for the one and only Prince Kalumab from Nigeria? What sort of song? Love you, Arsenal. We do. Oh, Arsenal, we love you. Is that one? Jamie Eason's vlog says 47 in all competitions for Robert Lewandowski, 26 league goals. Wow. That guy, he's unbelievable player. He doesn't always get as well. When they're talking about all the players, the top strikers, sometimes people miss him out. He's unbelievable. Unbelievable striker, he really is. And so I would love to have seen him play in the Premier League. I think he'd do it over as well. He's just a natural goal scorer. Diogene says, what type of football content do you think is missing on YouTube or social media? Oof. A lot of it's covered, to be honest. A lot of people are, I don't know. Because even now you've got a lot of football clubs doing content on social media. You've got a lot of highlights on that being showed on things like YouTube and that. What's missing? I'd still like to see some more honest content from football clubs. Like some, they always show us all the polished stuff. Like to see a bit more, like for instance, with this lockdown, and with this behind closed door stuff, they were talking about maybe football clubs might show the change rooms at half time just to add to the excitement of it and things being said in there. But haven't seen that so far yet from the Bundesliga. Will that be, something that happens, I don't know, in the Premier League? But football content, yeah, some more better stuff coming from the football clubs themselves. Omar, greatest of all time, in my opinion. Greatest football of all time. Greatest boxer of all time is definitely Muhammad Ali. Greatest football of all time. I think it's one of two right now, which is Pele or Maradona. I'm not going to put Messi and Ronaldo in it yet because they're still playing. So I'm going to go with one of those two. I'm going to have to edge Pele because Maradona got caught with the drugs thing, but Maradona was an unbelievable player as well. This gentleman says, Robbie, 3 alternatives to Partey. Jeez, put me on the spot there. Ndidi, that's one. Ooh, Ndidi. Ndidi. Rabiot's not really, he's not really a defensive midfielder, is he? I'm thinking about hardcore enforcer defensive midfielders. Obviously Kante, but we wouldn't be able to get him. Players of that ilk, I think. Or maybe Decore at Watford. Maybe that's 3 that would be 3 good alternatives to bringing him in. Alexander says, hello, Robbie. What did you work before AFTV? Are you working something outside of AFTV. Well, before working on AFTV, I used to work as a building surveyor. And no, AFTV's now is my full-time job. But yeah, that's what I did before, building surveyor. Thomas Oliver said Fabinho, Liverpool. Yeah, he'd be a good alternative. But you know, when Liverpool signed him, I wanted us to get him as a defensive midfielder. I thought he would have been suited us perfectly. I think he's done a great job. He's done a great job, really, for Liverpool. He would have been perfect for us. Theo says Lacazette equals Giroud. Both offered the same productivity, and Giroud was better holding up play. I just feel Giroud got unfairly criticised because he was right after the prolific RVP. You've got, I mean, Giroud grew into the role, didn't he? I mean, you're all right. He came in after Robin van Persie, and he's not a prolific goal scorer. So you lose a prolific goal scorer and then you bring in Van Persie. Sorry, you bring in Giroud. It's just not the same replacement. And this is what I'm hoping doesn't happen if we lose Aubameyang. We have to, you know, replace him with somebody who can bang the goals in, right? Because, you know, those sort of players, they're just prolific goal scorers. Like I said, like with Lewandowski, you just got some players that are just naturally, they just got it. When they get in front of goal, they don't even have to think twice. Whereas Giroud was a player who had to think twice. Good player, but we need an out-and-out striker if we sell, which I hope we don't, if we sell Aubameyang. Mohammed says Mahrez or Willian. Well, it would be Mahrez right now. I think Mahrez is a very underrated player. I really do. He has had a good season as well for Manchester City. So definitely Mahrez at the moment. Willian's been a great player. He's coming towards the end of his reign, definitely. I don't want us to sign him, by the way. Richrath says Gazidis' whole reign has been outdone by our current Arsenal staff in 2 transfer windows. We sold Iwobi for 30 million. We have to sell mediocre talents on high wages, I think, by giving them game time or loaning them. When he says outdone, improved, these new guys have improved a lot on the Gazidis' reign because, you know, basically, you know, you look at it. We had Alex, Liverpool fan, on the other day, and we were talking about that and saying how with Liverpool, they've been able to do the self-sufficient model because basically they've had lots and lots of assets to sell. And you look at the players they've sold and the money they've got for it. Last night we had Max on, Borussia Dortmund, and he was talking about the players they've sold. I mean, they sold Aubameyang to us for like 60 million, just under, you know, and they've sold like players like Ousmane Dembele over 120 million pounds and use that money to reinvest and build their squads. And then now they've got Jadon Sancho, who they bought for about 20 million from City, who's worth 100 million, right? They've got Haaland, who's probably going to be worth like 200 million. They've got Brandt. They've got all these players that, you know, they don't want, you know, you heard him yesterday. He doesn't want to lose any of those players. But if they do lose them, they're going to get a king's ransom to be able to go out there and get a player to replace them. Whereas in Arsenal's case, nah, we've just not had, you know, Ramsey and all these guys going for nothing. So got to change that. Got to change that at this club. SGLSB222 says 12th of June is a week too early. I think he's talking about here the date when they're talking about bringing back the Premier League. I reckon we should go on the 19th of June. That gives players a full month. Can't wait. Thanks for the content through the lockdown, Robbie. You've kept me sane. Thank you very much for that. I agree with you. I think the 12th of June might be too soon. 19th of June, I think, to be on the safe side, why not go to 19th of June? But who knows? I mean, I saw today that today's been the lowest amount of deaths, I think, in the UK since it all erupted. Hopefully it'll be further down even more by the time we get to that date, and there'll be no spikes in what's going on. But got to choose the date when we come back carefully. It's going to be behind closed doors, but I just hope that it's not too long. Kelvin Crime says, Don Robbie, there's a video circulating of you drinking vodka at 10 a.m. Shocking news. That was this morning when I was talking about the whole Lacazette thing and saying that, listen, we don't even know if he inhaled that stuff. We don't know whether he was just sending it to his mate as a joke or whatever. And I had like a glass of water and I was saying, listen, I could have vodka in this. And so I can guarantee you it weren't vodka. In this is some coffee, black coffee. Take a sip of that. It's coffee. I don't know if you can see it here, but it is. Let me tilt it there. Black coffee, not beer. But certainly that Lacazette thing is still all day long that's been going along. And I see that Arsenal have come out and said they're going to speak to him about it and they're not happy. So Lacazette has not done very well in this lockdown. First of all, there was a picture of him not socially distancing from the guy who was valeting his car. And now this, not a great look for Lacazette. I'm hoping that it was just some sort of joke or prank because a footballer shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff anyway. Chris Owen says it's whiskey and coke. It's black coffee, man. Look, you can see it. Can you see it? Black coffee. If I'm drunk by the end of the show, let me know. But it is. I can guarantee you, it's black coffee. Robbie, what's the topic for your debate against DT this week? We've been having some big tear-ups during this whole thing. I don't know. Something will come up, you know. You could argue about anything with that guy, you know what I mean? Because he's just always ready to disagree. So who knows? There'll be something. There'll definitely be something. James Dwyer says, do you think... James Dwyer, sorry, correction. James Dwyer says, do you think Arteta will bring back the glory days? So this is going to be a big ask for Arteta. We're well behind the big boys right now. We really are well behind the big boys. And, you know, given time, we've got to be patient with him. I do think he can win things. I really do. But he needs his own team. He needs to be able to mould his own team before he can do that, before he can have any chance of bringing back the big time. But hopefully he can do that. And let's hope he can. I've got another chat here that's not coming up in my feed, but it says it's from AJ with a super chat. He says, hi, Robbie. Who would be in your all-time Arsenal front four? Left wing, right wing, striker, and attacking midfielder. Ooh. Well, Pires. Left wing, right wing, attacking midfielder. Obviously Henri. Bergkamp, number 10. Maybe Overmars in there. I don't know. It's just really, you know, we've had some great players. Certainly, I don't think any player at the moment would make it. They wouldn't make it at all. Possibly the only player who could be knocking on the door would be Aubameyang. Akil says, Robbie, we've always had very expensive number 10s like Ozil, Bergkamp. Who do you think Arsenal will go for next? Well, it certainly ain't going to be an expensive one, that's for sure. If you see what's going on at the moment. I really don't know. I really don't know. I can see it being like maybe like, you know, that Cockcoos over there in the final. And I can see them going for somebody like that who's not going to be too expensive, but hopefully they can develop him into being a top player. Because the money just ain't there. Gunners 42294 says, do you have an NBA or NFL team? Well, NBA wise, I used to have a little business back in the day. I used to go to New York a lot. So my adopted team was the New York Knicks. They're not very good. They haven't won anything for a very long time. But I also, you know, because I've been to see them a few times, New York Knicks has always been my NBA team. NFL team, I don't really have an NFL team, you know. I just like enjoy watching any of them. I always also like the Raiders. I was intrigued the other day when I was in Vegas to see that they're moving to Vegas. It's unbelievable the way they just move from one place to another. I remember, I mean, obviously with the LA Rams moved from St. Louis to LA. I find that unreal. I mean, could you imagine if they did that over here in the Premier League? You know, Arsenal up sticks and move to Birmingham. Villa moved to London. You know what I mean? It's impossible. Could you imagine? You know, but in America they do that regularly. It's crazy. But NBA team definitely the New York Knicks. Liban says, which Spurs player would you not mind having at Arsenal? I say Son is a good player. He is a very, very good player. And even though you're an Arsenal fan, you look at him and he's one of those guys, it's hard to hate on him. He's always got a smile on his face. You know, he seems like a decent guy, you know what I mean? So Son would be the one I'd say, but no thanks. Don't want none of them. Guerrero 14 says, I reckon open up everything and people live with the consequences. And those that want to stay at home, stay at home. Simple. Come on. That's all. What about people die from this thing, bro? You can't just, you know, no, I'm not with that. I'm not with that. You've got to do it when it's safe. You can't just open up and say, right, that's it. Doesn't matter. Whoever dies, dies. Survival of the fittest. Just, no, you can't do that, man. As much as you possibly can, you've got to try and preserve life. And if that means no football, listen, there's nobody who would hate that more than me, but no football. You know, we've got to do it when it's safe. We've got to try and beat this thing, not just accept defeat and say, right, we're all going to go out there and whoever lives, lives, whoever dies, dies. You know, no, I don't. No, I was in the shops the other day, and this guy come over to me and he's going, "Oh, Robbie, can I have a picture?" And he's like coming over to me to talk. I said, "Yo, bro, social distancing, man. Come on." And what he said, I couldn't believe. He said to me, he goes, "Robbie, come on, man. This whole thing's a hoax." I said, "You are joking when you say that." He said, "No, it's a hoax. It's a hoax." He goes, "Oh, people die all the time. People die from cancer. People die from..." I said, "Yeah, but there's a difference. You don't go and touch somebody and then they've got cancer, do they? You know what I mean? You don't go and touch somebody and then they die from heart disease. Come on, this is a virus. It spreads. You know, this is different. So, no, we've got to try and save as many people as possible and try and come up with a vaccine and try and come up with ways to beat it. Not just give up to it. That's my opinion. This guy says, I don't understand this concept of giving Arteta the time. The same fans didn't give Emery time, so why Arteta? Is it because Emery had no affiliation with Arsenal and Arteta has? Well, listen, the reality of it is, Achilles, the reality of it is no manager gets time, really. You get time, but you don't really, if he is doing as badly as what, you know, Emery was in the end, which was basically Emery didn't get into the top four, lost the final of the Europa League, and then was just losing game after game. We weren't going no direction. If that's happening, you're not going to get time. You're not going to get time. That's the reality of it. But we want him to get as much time as possible because we know that you can see that this guy is going to want his own team. But the reality of the situation is, Achilles, right, is that when it comes down to it, if his record is as bad as Emery's is, right, and things are looking as bad as Emery, and that you're looking at the team and you're seeing no progress and you're seeing us going backwards, then Arteta won't get time either. I can guarantee you that. Ikem says, Robbie, what do you think of the Nigerian Victor Osimhen, good player from Lille? Had a good season. He's 21. Could be a signing if Aubameyang leaves. I think they want a lot of money for him as well. But yeah, that's a possibility. I should have asked Kelechi about him last night. He's a good player when I've seen him play. Habib says, Arsenal being linked with Barcelona goalkeeper Neto. Would you take him as a number 2? He's a good keeper. I see us being linked with him. We've also been linked with Alfonso Areola. Looks like we're in the hunt for a number 2. I'd like to see Martinez kept on and given, but then maybe Martinez is saying to himself, I want to play first team football. He's been at Arsenal for so long and he's still not made it into the first team. But yes, Neto's an option. You know, you always need 2 good keepers. Adam Walker says, hi, Robbie, I'm 17 and the trophies I only seen Arsenal win are 3 FA Cups. I hope one day I can see us winning something like the Premier League or Champions League. Wow. You know, I think because obviously I'm a lot older than you, it's hard to imagine that, you know, he's never seen Arsenal win like the league. Never seen Arsenal win the Champions League. It's not good enough, Arsenal. Come on. You know, we've got a generation growing up who have not seen us win the league. So when I'm there talking about the Invincibles and this, to those kids, they're like, oh, yeah, great bit of history, but what about now? I want to see, I mean, I've never seen it in my lifetime. And yeah, that's why we really, really need to get our act together and start challenging for this league. This is a big club, man. You know what I mean? And if we don't, people are going to soon be saying, well, you're not really right up there, you know? Alan says, Toronto Raptors, Robbie, he wants me to follow them. Well, they're a good team up there. They're a very good team, but I'm sorry, I'm with the Knicks, man. It's just how it is. Dewey says, do you rate Hakimi? Yes, I do. Very good player. You had Max talking about him last night as well. Very, very good player. Ben Cookie says, why are Arsenal the only Premier League team to take a pay cut? Kroenke is literally worth 10 billion as of 2020. Pandemic aside, it's bloody ridiculous, to be honest. I love the New York Giants, he says, Yankees and the Devils. This is you know, again, I think it was Kelechi who raised this the other day that, you know, why are we the only team to have taken a pay cut? I mean, all right, maybe more might join that. But it is worrying, isn't it? When you look on it, you're like, Arsenal, straight away in there, pay cut. Why? Why us? We're owned by a billionaire. It's true we're owned by a billionaire. And, you know, respect to those players, by the way. Respect to those players because, you know, they're in the papers, like, for instance, Lacazette for hippie crack and stuff like that and balloons. But remember, he took a pay cut. He took a pay cut as the, you know, all of the team apart from 3 players. One of them we obviously know who are. But why Arsenal? Liverpool haven't taken a pay cut yet. Man United haven't had to take a pay cut. You know, Chelsea. Is this, when you look at it, is this a damaging long-term thing? And when I say that, I'm saying it from the point of view that if you're a player, if you're a footballer, and you're looking on it, so I mean, to give you an example, so I was talking about this with my brother the other day. We're always debating football, me and him, right? And we were saying it's quite damaging to the Belgian league and the French league. If you're a footballer now, with them abandoning their league very early, and if you're a footballer, let's say PSG, you're thinking to yourself, if an opportunity come up, I'd rather play in the Premier League, Germany, Italy, Spain, because all of them, despite the same things that they're going through as us, they all got their leagues back on, right? They all, you might be looking at a similar thing with Arsenal as a player. You're like, are they a really big club? Pay cut straight away. Why is, you know, why is all these other clubs not had to take pay cuts? All right, players have taken deferrals on wages. Some have done voluntary pay cuts where, you know, for a couple of months. But why is it Arsenal? You know, talking about the Premier League now, why are they the ones that would like the first ones out of the block pay cut? It is a bit of a worrying thing. If could that be damaging in the future when a player's considering whether to go to Arsenal or not? So, but, and I still not, you know, we heard about the cash injection that was coming. We don't know in what form that is because the guy now owns all the clubs, so he doesn't have to tell us. But what is the cash injection going to be used for? Is it going to be used for players? Ozil was sort of, you know, intimating about. Mr. A say, Robbie, with Emery's comments, he mentioned quite a few times that he got overruled on transfers, making me worry about Arteta and if he will stay. This, of course, is another subject we've touched on. The fact that managers nowadays, or as most of them are called now, head coaches, at most clubs now, don't make the final decision on transfers. It's made by sort of a group of people. So at Arsenal, it's Raul, Edu, and also Arteta. It's the 3 of them that decide on who they're going to bring in. It's like that at a lot of clubs now. That's the system. Chelsea have got a similar system. Man City, you know, a lot of those clubs have got a similar system. Now, yeah, managers do get overruled on transfers. And as I've said a few times on this show, sometimes it's more a matter of like they buy players for the club sometimes, not just what the manager wants, because they're looking on it that suppose this manager goes, suppose this manager was to get the sack, the player is still going to be here. So, you know, the coach that we bring in, we are asking them to be that person that, you know, gets the best out of these players. So it is a worrying thing. It is a worrying thing. And I just hope that Arteta's going to be forceful enough to get his players in that he really wants, because you can see he wants players to play his system. Ethan Power says Arsenal are the new Everton. Well, you know what? If we don't get our act together, that Everton could surpass us, because, you know, they're starting to spend, you know. So yeah, we got to get our act together. Sunny H says, Robbie, you know any Punjabi Bhangra songs? Laugh out loud. And when are you going to remake One Sniff? No plans to remake One Sniff. And I don't really know. I've heard many Punjabi Bhangra songs. I don't know what they are, but I like them. I went to an Indian wedding one time, right? And they had like a sound system that was playing just pure that all night, man. I was out on the dance floor, man. Trust me, they've got some banging rhythms. Right. The BAM says, do you think Liverpool will be on top for a while now? How do you think Arsenal will catch them up? Well, I do think Liverpool are going to be up there for a while. As long as Klopp's there, they're always going to be challenging. He's a top quality manager. First step for us challenging is a top quality manager as well. So we're hoping that Arteta is that. Then we've got to start bringing in quality players. It's going to take us a few years to catch up with Liverpool, because we are miles behind them right now. I have to be honest. They are the standard, you know. SWM says, favourite team outside the Premier League? Oh. Outside the Premier League? I don't know, you know, I don't really have a favourite team outside the Premier League. Yeah, I don't really, you know, a little bit of a soft spot for QPR. You know, having been born in northwest London, so a little bit of a soft spot for QPR. But yeah, that's not really. I don't really have a favourite team, to be honest. I just like, when it's not Arsenal playing, I like to watch good football, and that's it. To be honest, I don't really. I wouldn't single out any team. Mihir says, hi Robbie. If you had a choice between Klopp or Pep to manage Arsenal, who would it be and why? I think I would have gone for Pep, because either of them, to be honest, they're both great managers. I think I just slightly go on the side of Pep, because I just think that, you know, he's just absolutely relentless and what he gets out of his players, and he's got a system that he wants to play. And I just think he's a type of manager. It doesn't matter where he goes, he's bringing success. But Klopp, he's been brilliant as well. And I like Klopp's connection with the fans. You know, so Klopp would have been brilliant. Either of those two. And the worst thing about it is that we could possibly have had one of them. And we didn't. We stuck with the manager that we had at the time, and the rest is history. Funk Mastered says Kroenke is a billionaire because of things like a pay cut. He has all his money, but how much is generated by Arsenal? It might come from the LA Rams. Well, if you ask me, what's being generated right now? Funny enough, right? I remember there was a journalist, and he said, he goes, do you know what Kroenke's biggest club is at the moment, out of all the clubs that he owned? And he said it was Arsenal. You know, and I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? He's not operating like a big club. LA Rams are big, and he's building that big, impressive stadium. But yeah, billionaires, because you're probably right, mate. You know what I mean? He's a billionaire because of things like a pay cut, because he's looking after his own. But we want somebody who's going to be in charge. We're not necessarily saying to splash left, right, and centre, but we want somebody who's going to, you know, put a lot of money into the club right now. And I'm not seeing that happen enough, because he's been here for a long time. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, you know, last season, you know, he pumped money in, but that's about the only season. When has he done it in any other season? And he's been in charge for a long time, right? Even though Osimhen was there, he was in total control even during that time. And he's just not done enough. He has been When you look at Stan Kroenke, quite frankly, he's been a disaster for Arsenal since he's been here. And that's the long and short of it. We've not won none of the big things under him. We haven't won the Champions League. We haven't won the Premier League. We won 3 FA Cups. Year in, year out, we sold our best players. That's it. What's he done? What has he done since he's been here? You know, you look at the owners at Liverpool. They've won the Champions League. They're on the verge of winning the title. Last year, they come runners up, just about missed out. You look at the owners at Man City, what they've won. Look at the Abramovich at Chelsea, what he's won. You look at the owners at Wolves, the way they've improved them. They've got them into Europe. You know, what as 3 FA Cups, but for a team of Arsenal's stature, it's great to win an FA Cup. It's unbelievable to win an FA Cup, but come on. We should be challenging for the league every season. We should be challenging for the league. All right, you can have a season where, all right, it's not really going our way, but when was the last time Arsenal honestly had a real tilt at winning the league? And I think that was probably the season with Eduardo, when Eduardo broke his leg. That was when a season when we like, yeah, we should win this. And we kind of fell apart in that. We were challenging. But when was, apart from that, when was, and what has Kroenke done? You know? So he hasn't done well at all since he's been at Arsenal. That's my honest opinion. Getting through them here. Pieface says John Terry or Tony Adams. Come on, man. Tony Adams, bro. What's up with you, bro? Amir says, Robbie, do you think keeping Arsene Wenger for too long would be a reason in potentially keeping us behind for another few years? Well, I do. And, you know, I liked Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger is a great of Arsenal Football Club. He deserves a statue when that statue's built because, you know, he gave me some of the best footballing times of my life at Arsenal. The Invincible season, we were winning trophies, we were doing doubles. It was brilliant. But as that kid there earlier on said, he's 17. He hasn't seen none of that. Arsene Wenger stayed on for too long, right? And I don't blame Arsene Wenger really for that, because it's not the job of Arsene Wenger to say, right, you know what, I'm leaving now, because, you know, it's the job of the person in charge, which again, this comes back to me, to Stan Kroenke, to look at the situation and say, you know what, Arsene's been brilliant for us. He's been, what a servant, but I feel now we need to bring in someone new. Let's go and get Pep Guardiola. Let's go and get Klopp to take over from Arsene Wenger. But he didn't do that. He's stuck with Arsene Wenger. And the reason why he's stuck with Arsene Wenger is because year in, year out, Arsene Wenger would always get us into the top 4, which meant that we got Champions League money, which meant that Arsenal was always running in a profit. He wasn't interested in winning the league. This is just my opinion. He wasn't a winner. Because if he was in charge and he was a real winner, he would have seen the situation with Arsene Wenger, a bit like what the fans saw, that a few years before Wenger left, he should really have went then. But he didn't care because he was still getting into the Champions League. It was only, if you check it out, it's when we stopped getting into the Champions League when he started to act. Because now the income's dropping. And that's why I look on it and I just say, he's not done it under his reign. We've not had, and that starts from him, the winning mentality has not been there. I know everybody talks about the players and the managers and stuff like that, and people will say, yeah, but Robbie, how can you blame him? He's not on the pitch. But the winning mentality starts from the very, very top of any organization, the person who's in charge. And if he had a winning mentality, he would not have sat back there for over 10 years and just seen a mediocre Arsenal. He wouldn't have sat back and see us sell our best players. He would have acted. And he didn't. So, yeah, he set us back. But I don't think that was Wenger's fault, not stepping down. Because, you know, you're in a great job. Why you want to step down for? All right, there's a lot of heat and pressure coming on you. But it's not who sacks themselves, really. You know, it's normally the job of the person who's in charge to say, yeah, come on, off you go. and he didn't do it. Let's get back into the comments. Oh, there's one. I missed. Mike Batchelor says, Robbie, support Chelsea. What? Oh, he supports Chelsea. I thought he's telling me to support Chelsea. Yeah, okay, cool. He said, Mike Batchelor says, support Chelsea, but I love what you do. Who is bigger, Chelsea or Tottenham? And who do you prefer as a team, fan base, etc.? And who do you think is more of your rivals? Well, more of our rivals is definitely Tottenham. Dele Alli the other day was trying to say that it's he sees Chelsea more as a rival now. It's, for me, the biggest rivals for us is Tottenham. Who's the bigger club? It's Chelsea is a bigger club. Yeah, I mean, look what they've won recently. Look what they've done. Look where they've been. You know, you've got to say Chelsea. And who do I prefer as a team? I go team fan base. I go Chelsea as well, because you know, at least when I go down there, they're not looking to kill me. All right, so getting into. You guys got some great questions tonight. Trent Singh says, Robbie, I remember seeing a picture of Glazers, Liverpool's owners and the Glazers at a dinner. Any guesses what the conversations would have been about? Well, you know, in the case of Glazers, it's probably about getting into talking about the top four, you know, because that's all we weren't competing. We weren't competing. And, you know, I've just been really disappointed with the reign of Stan Kroenke. I know everyone says, oh, he's just quick to jump on his case and that, but I think they've got a reason to. And if he's going to stay in charge, he has to start changing that. Linking fans to football says, Robbie, I think he means to be fair to Arsenal. I don't think he was to be blamed for Arsenal's demise. If he had left a long time ago, Arsenal would have been worse, possibly. He was, if you, now you sort of take a step back and you look at it. Wenger for quite a long time was holding the fort at Arsenal. So he was getting us into the top four year in, year out, right? And sort of, you know, even when sometimes we didn't really deserve to get into the top four, he was pulling it off. But that was always going to run out. And somebody needed to say, right, enough is enough now. We need to, what do we want to do? Do we want to just keep getting into the top four? It was almost like a joke, wasn't it, against Arsenal? Oh, yeah, Arsenal top four, that's what you're looking for. But in reality, a lot of those fans were bantering us and saying that that's all we were looking for. They were right. We were. That was like the start of the season, our aim was the top four. It wasn't to win the league. Now, what's that all about, you know? Sorry, there's another super chat here. I can't get it open on the screen. It's from Peace Love. It says, Wagwan, Robbie, great idea for AFTV. A top 10 Arsenal kits of all time. Okay, we'll check that one out, Peace Love. I like that idea. Yeah, just going back to the Wenger thing. And yeah, we'd start the season. In my opinion, Stan Kroenke started the season is like top four. That's how he started the season, top four. That's what we're looking to do. But Man City, when they start the season, is win the league. So Liverpool. So is it Chelsea. And Arsenal used to be, when we started the season, win the league. Man United, as bad as they've been since Fergie's left, but when they started the season, their objective is to win the league. Is there someone honestly going to tell me that our objective over, you know, quite a lot of Stan Kroenke's reign has been to win the league? Or was the objective to get into the top four? And you hear Wenger talk and you think top four is more, they look at getting into their Champions League. So under that self-sufficient model that helps us to attract players, we get a little influx of money so that we can buy a few better players, we can pay the wages. But there was no that driven hunger to go for the very biggest prize. And if you don't have that mentality, it seeps down to everything. Because top four for a team like Arsenal is mediocre. So it seeps all the way down and everybody just becomes mediocre at the club. And that's what I like about Arteta. He's coming in with he looks to me like a guy that's like, he's not accepting top four. You know, top four might be the thing he's aiming for to start off with, but his aims is to win the league and to restore, you know, make Arsenal great again, as Mr. Trump would say. Joel Lockwood says, Robbie, why do you think none of our managers rate Torreira? It's just baffling for me. You know, I thought when Torreira come in, I've seen signs of a really good player. We've lacked in that area for so long, and I don't know. Is it because they don't think he has the presence? Is it something to do with his fitness levels? I don't know why they don't, because I like him when he plays there. I like him when he plays as the defensive midfielder, and the fans love him, and I just don't get it. I really don't. It must be something we're not seeing, you know? Kingsley Opera says, Robbie, never been to a live game, Robbie. What's the difference between being at Highbury and the Emirates? Because many have said that we lost our soul at Highbury. Well, we lost our soul when we left Highbury, I think he means. And even Arsene Wenger himself said that we've lost our soul since we've gone to the Emirates. And it's true. And the atmosphere at Highbury was much better. But I think even more important, right? Do you know the biggest difference between Highbury and the Emirates? We were challenging for the league week in, week out. We were up there as one of the biggest clubs around. We challenged for the league. Even if we didn't win it, we were challenging for it. At the Emirates, we're not. And that's one of the biggest differences between the two places, you know? I know everybody cites the atmosphere and that, but that's, you know, we've gone to a place. That's why there's no soul, because we ain't challenging there. What have we gone there for? To get into the top four? No. Kelly says that is a virus. Either the virus kills the host or the host kills the virus. That's a bit harsh, but I hear where you're coming from, bro. You know, I hear where you're coming from. Jordan says, what's the worst defeat? What is the worst defeat against Liverpool you've experienced as an Arsenal fan? I know you've experienced a few in recent years, but which one was the worst? It was the 5-1. You know, that first 5-1 that we got out there was absolutely humiliating. Come out, see those guys from Redmen TV go like that to me, and terrible, man. It was why that performance was so bad, right? Is that we just waved the white flag. White flag, give up. You know, anytime you see your team give up, those are the. When we got beaten by Chelsea 6-0, terrible, gave up. I think that's worse than the 8-2 that we got against United, because the 8-2 we got against United, we had loads of kids playing, you know what I mean? And there was lots of kids who'd never played for Arsenal before. We had a load of injuries. There was mitigating circumstances, even though 8-2 is still a disgrace. But the Chelsea one, that wasn't 6-0. And basically from the first 2 goals game winning, we just waved the white flag, you know? Mentality, terrible. Beatbox Dre says, stop overhyping dead players like Xhaka and Bellerin. Then Arsenal will be great again. There are a lot of players at Arsenal that I can't argue with that guy. They get a lot of ratings and they ain't done nothing. The 2 that he's just mentioned there, you got to say, you know, well, Xhaka's had a lot of stick. Hector Bellerin gets a lot of love, but I think it's a huge season next year for him, because has he justified? Well, listen, not justifying the love. Of course, he should get the love because he's an Arsenal player and he's Arsenal through and through. But does he justify the ratings that he gets? Because what's he done? And that's what I'm saying. And there's a lot. It's not just him. There's a lot of players like that at Arsenal that if you was to sit them down and honestly ask them and say, "What have you done?" They can tell you that they've had some good games, but they ain't been that real. You know what I mean? The players individually as well, they need to start delivering. They really do. There's a lot of players that have been hyped up. They need to live up to that hype. The only one I see doing that at the moment is Aubameyang. With Saka and those guys and Martinelli, they're not. It's not even. They're going beyond what we thought of them, right? But the only one that's living up to the hype at the moment in that football club, where you be like, you hype him up and you say, yeah, Aubameyang, one of the best around, is Aubameyang. Does it on the pitch week in, week out. So there's many other players there that get a lot of ratings. You know, Messi gets a lot of ratings. Great player, great talent, Does he deserve that sometimes with what he's done in recent times? You know, and there's many others. It's not just him. There's many others, as I said, right throughout that team. Xhaka, as the guy said, you know, is he deserving of some of the ratings? You know, some of those players, what they get. So, great point by that guy. Mr. A says it's been 16 years since we won the league. 3 years since we last won a trophy. I'm worried we're losing that trophy winning feeling. Well, we've lost that trophy winning feeling as far as the league is concerned. You know, we really got to, you know, the drastic action is required. And I know it's going to be hard now because of the coronavirus thing, but I don't want this coronavirus thing to mask over everything when it comes to challenging. Because you know what? It's the same for every team. Every team is going to be in a crisis because of this coronavirus thing. So I don't want us to use that as an excuse. Yeah, everybody is going to have to go for it. From you see, even Man United saying they're pulling back in their spending. Everybody. So it's not an excuse because it's going to be tight for everybody. So still need to see Arsenal deliver. David Orchard says, "Hi Robbie from the Isle of Wight. Why do Arabs always buy poor teams like PSG, Newcastle?" And not teams like Arsenal. And then will you do a cooking show? I've got another cooking show lined up this week, definitely. I think, I don't know, maybe because they haven't been able to get their hands on some of the biggest clubs. The same owners who are looking to buy Newcastle were also looking at Man United. If they would have bought Man United, Jesus, it'd be over, man. You know what I mean? If they'd have bought United. But, they were looking at buying Man United. I don't think Man United wanted to sell to them. I think with the City owners, if I remember rightly, they were looking at other clubs as well and waiting for City. I think it's sometimes just because what's available. You know, remember Usmanov wanted to buy Arsenal, but not available. Owners that are there like, no, we're not selling, which is Stan Kroenke. Had Usmanov have bought it, he'd be, you know, he'd have the funds, and he always said that, you know, I'll be putting money in. Big money in. So it would have been really good if he had. I would have loved to have seen him buy it, but didn't happen, man. Justin Arno says, from Italy, one love, Robbie. Big up to everybody over there in Italy, man. I hope you guys are doing all right over there. Obviously, the coronavirus has hit Italy very, very hard, but I saw today that the cases are dropping there as well, and they're going to be looking to get their football back on. So really, really good signs, man. I was over in Italy last year in Milan. I went to the F1. I was looking at some of the little pictures and videos I did when I was over there, and I was like, oh man, you know, I just miss traveling, man. Miss going to beautiful countries like Italy. How long before we get back to be able to do that, I don't know, man. But yeah, big up to everybody over there in Italy. AM says, until Stan leaves, we'll be an average team with no expectations. Don't be upset if Aubameyang leaves. You can't blame him. We are finished, Robbie. We're finished. It's over. I hope not. We're going to need Arteta to work some magic. We really are going to need him to work some magic if we to start challenging again. And you can work your. See, this is one of the problems that what we've had over the years. Even when Wenger was starting to get things improved and we're stepping up, so we get Alexis in the team and things are starting to move, and everyone's like, "Oh, get Alexis, great player, exciting player. Ozil's playing well with him. This is looking good." Right, what we need to do now is get a defensive midfielder, couple of defenders in, and we can challenge for the league. What do? We sell the only good players we got. We sell Alexis. We sell Van Persie. But how are we going to win anything like that? How is that a winning mentality that you sell your best players? And this is not one-off things. There's a whole history of it, and this has all been under Stan Kroenke. And Percy, Nasri, all of it's been under him, you know. So work it out. Work it out, as they say. You know, if we was in a court of law right now, the evidence I'd be able to present on behalf of, you know, Speak, Robbie Lyle, acting on behalf of the fans. Your Honour, I have some evidence here that I would like to present to you. And on this date, Stan Kroenke was responsible for the selling of Robin van Persie. He just won the Golden Boot and was leading Arsenal, and was a real resurgence. Then he sold him. Exhibit number 2. Fabregas was playing very well for Arsenal, starting to carry us up. We were starting to move up. Sold. Exhibit number 3. Aubameyang. We hope that's not the case. But you see what I'm coming from, though. You know, there's a history of this. How are we supposed to win anything if this ain't sorted out? Declan says the rest of the season and next season is most important time in Arsenal's modern history. It can make or break us as a top club. If we fail, it could be the end of us at the top as a top 7 club. Top 7. We used to be that top 4 club, top 7 now. But you ain't lying. And Newcastle are about to get big. Listen, look at the league right now. Obviously, you've got your top, you know, your Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United. Spurs are in there now. Let's be real. They are in there, right? 5, right? Then you've got Leicester, 6. Then you've got Wolves, 7, right? And then Everton are spending big at the moment, 8. Then Newcastle are about to drop a big load of money, right? 9. Then Arsenal, that's 10 clubs. 10 clubs with big spending and lots of quality players. If we don't get our act together. And you know the next thing is as well, people like to accuse, I've said this many a time, people like to accuse Arsenal fans of moaning. Oh, you guys like to moan. Arsenal fans, you're always moaning. You know, what's wrong with you lot? You got guys coming on AFTV, these DTs and that, they're always moaning. We'd be positive. What we want to be positive, bro. But did you hear what that kid said? He's 17 and he's not seen Arsenal win the league. You could argue he probably has never even seen us really challenge properly for the league. What do you expect us to do as a big club that was at Highbury? As the guy was saying before, the difference at Highbury, when we was at Highbury, we're winning things every year. Every year we're winning, we're challenging. Doubles. We're winning doubles. We're going invincible in a season. We're, you know, Champions League final. Then we move, what? What for? And highest ticket prices, new stadium. And you wonder why people are moaning. And you wonder why fans are getting miserable. Come on, man. If you ask me, Arsenal fans are amongst some of the most patient fans around. When you think, as I said, how they get hammered with ticket prices and we haven't challenged. And as I said, that kid there ain't seen us get nowhere near the league for 17 years. Moaners. W88 says, Robbie, do you think Arteta will improve Xhaka? If not, who is the best pivot alongside Torreira? I do think I've already seen improvements in Xhaka under Arteta. I really have seen some improvements. What he's got to do with Xhaka, he's got to cut out the mistakes. Just keep it simple with him. Just say to Xhaka, keep it simple. You got the presence there in the midfield. Keep it simple. You can put a good pass, but cut the mistakes out. If you can do that, we'll see a much better Xhaka when the season resumes or next season. Charlie Millen says, Don Robbie, people can't possibly have sent more messages than me. He says, I just want to know when we'll find out if our videos, International Gooners, will make it somewhere. Love from Brazil. Well, you know what? I was looking through them today, man. There's loads. Jeez. I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's loads of them. Right. So I've got to get some of you guys on for the show next week. So we are working through that. Right. So I will be. And what we do is it's not just going to be one show. I think we're going to have to do the amount that's come in. We're going to have to get it over a few shows. All right. So no, definitely. And then Charlie also says, Robbie, it's my fiance. It's my fiance and my anniversary, can you send us a shout out? And also, when will you be doing a video with it? He asked us that again with the International Goonies. I sent a video AFTV content on Icardi and Gerson. I'm anxious. All right, I'm going to look into that definitely. But listen, happy anniversary to you guys. Shame it's under the lockdown at the moment, but listen, I'm sure you're making the best of it. And also, happy birthday to my son. It's his birthday today as well. Big up, little man. Happy birthday to you. Hope you liked all the presents. Still angry about that present that I bought for you that has not turned up, right? Which I suppose, you know, with this coronavirus thing, you've got to have a little bit of a leeway. But I did order it 2 weeks ago, and I'm not going to, I feel to call the company out on this show because you know what? They haven't even replied to any of my emails or nothing. Should I call them up? No, all right. If I don't get that thing soon, I might have to do that, man, because I am a bit peed off about it. Off point. Last couple I'm going to do here. Elliot Roberts says, greetings from Toronto. If you had a choice, who would you have own the club? Kroenke or Dan? Is that a question? And do you think Arteta can push the Kroenkes to further invest in the club? Maybe. Maybe, you know, I hope that he's very open, Arteta, and you know, does a bit like what Mourinho does sometimes, where he just makes it very clear this is what I want, so that we know if he's not getting it. Of course, I'd take Dan Gotti right now. I've just told you that these guys have been in charge for a very long time and they ain't done it. They haven't done it, right? So yes, thank you, Leo. Day says happy birthday to Don Robbie's son. Thank you very much. Dimindu says, how many years do you think Aubameyang has left in him? I think he has 2 years at most, but no more. We should not make the same mistakes we did with Ozil, giving Aubameyang a big contract for another 3 or 4 years. Well, listen, I've said this many a times, right? Age is a number when it comes to footballers nowadays. There are some big players out there. I mentioned one earlier, Lewandowski is well over 30. You know, I think Aubameyang, 3-year contract. I'd give him a 3-year contract, yeah. I think the guy's a goal scorer, man, and he's very fit. I'd give him a 3-year contract. 2 would be that, you're right, 2 would be a 2-year extension would be the perfect thing to do. But is that going to, I mean, why have they not just done that now? That's not the thing that's really worried me. But a 2-year extension, you are right, that would be the perfect scenario. Peace Love says, hello, Robbie. All of the usual guests on AFTV, who would you dislike if they were a fan of another team? And you can't say DT. Dislike him, he's a fan of our team. No, I'm only joking. Who would I dislike? It wouldn't be Claude, because I think even if he supported another team, he'd still be like, yeah, I like that guy. That's a tough question, isn't it? If they supported another team, it'd probably be Troops, because he's always giving it to. So if I was a supporter of another team, there'd be some time when Troops, he's always giving it to other teams. So it'd probably be Troops, because that means he'd be giving it to Arsenal all the time. Akhilesh says, views on Tierney. Will he stay at Arsenal or move to Leicester? He's definitely staying. Arteta's already said, you know, that he's a massive part of his plans. So, no, he's definitely staying. Definitely staying. Liverpool YNWA says, Robbie, do you know you haven't won the league for nearly 20 years? Karma hitting hard. Well, hold on, mate. I know you're about to win in and that, but how many years since you guys have won it? Up until, well, you ain't won it yet. 30 years, right? As a matter of fact, you've never won the Premier League, so just chill out a bit there. You're about to win it now, and all of a sudden, yeah, chill out, yeah? And, you know, just enjoy winning your league, but chill out, because this is the first time in Liverpool's history you're going to win the Premier League. So what karma? What karma are you talking about? Chill, bro, chill. Jake Simister says, when is the dub meme reaction video? We've been waiting for ages. That's coming out this week. So look out for that. I've done that already, but it's coming out, dropping this week. Mustafa says, Robbie, I hope you're safe. Do you think football has dropped in competition in the last 5 years? Has it become a business rather than a sport? The mentality of the players has dropped, in my opinion. Well, at Arsenal it has. It's not. The mentality at Man City has not dropped. The mentality at Liverpool's not dropped. You know, so no, it's not dropped as a competition for them. For some of the big boys, it has. It's been very poor. Some of the like you look at this season, Liverpool, well done to them, fantastic. But you have to say the clubs, you know, I'm not talking about your Leicesters and that. I'm talking about the traditional big boys, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, have been dreadful. I've not offered Liverpool any competition whatsoever. It's been easy for Liverpool, really has. You speak to a lot of Liverpool fans who say they played a lot better last year, you know? So, nah, I wouldn't say that. And I think I'm going to finish with this one because I like this one. It's Mrs. Thierry Henry 81. She says, it could be worse, Robbie. There are pensioners who've never seen Spurs win the league. Love that. Love that. That's perfect to finish on. Listen, thank you guys very much for all of your comments tonight. Really enjoyed the show. Don't forget, you can join our FIFA team. You see that link there. Chance to join our FIFA squad. Chance to win £500 and represent AFTV FC in FIFA. If you're interested in that, get involved in that right now. And we'll be back in the morning at 10 o'clock with another AFTV News Daily. Thanks for all of your questions in the lockdown and have yourself a great evening.